Well, thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. My pleasure to be here. Well, thank you for the condolence. Current happening as you asked. On Sunday, we wake up with the very sad news and tragedy, and that is not a new thing. It's something that persistent occurrence over time, and unfortunately, as you mentioned in your news, that in your report, due to the lack of adherence on the safety measures for the local water transportations, like local water way users. So currently, the situation is under monitoring, and our local king of our waters, like Sarkin Ruas, they are doing their best to continue rescuing operation. And so far, so good now, alhamdulillah. They have succeeded in rescuing 26 people out of the predicted number. Out of the predicted numbers, 25 men were rescued alive, and one woman were also among the rescued people, making the number of the 26. And we succeeded in getting the cooperation of the Rima Basin Development Authority for closing the water release from the Goronyo Dam temporarily for the 2 days time, so that the water will go down and those local water kings will continue the operation, rescue operation, to see how they can recover those people that are still missing. Although there is not an actual predicted number of those that are missing, it's just an assumption that 40 or 50 people were actually missing, but there is not a assertion of how many numbers of people are still missing.
I mean, it's a very tragic situation, and you know, we've been seeing these things occurring quite a lot, especially boat mishaps. Could you talk to us a little bit about some of the preventive measures? We saw an upgrade, at least from the federal government side. They talked about an upgrade when it comes to standard operating procedures, when it comes to transportation, especially when it comes to using boats in this country. This is one incident too many. What is the government in Sokoto State doing to ensure that people are protected, since this is the way that people have to go to the market? Are there any preventive measures that are being put in place?
It's not issues of people going to the market. We have to look to the safety standard nationally, and what are the national inland waterways are doing, like to restructure the waterways transportation system across the country. For us, in our own area, all the Padama communities, that's the way of our transportation in and all our waterways is locally inherited traditional ways of water transportation. So all those are locally fabricated boat that you see we are using are still the same boat we are using over time, like since before I was even born, and the many people ahead of me. That's what we have inherited and the transportation system we are using. So there is need of our national inland waterways to come in and to change and restructure the transportation system within the Padama communities and waterways users. So without not doing that, we still continue the same way and the same old way we are doing, and maintaining safety in that direction is going to be very, very difficult, because our local people are very difficult to adhere to the safety standard without coming in of the National Inland Waterways Authority.
You're talking about local methods that are being used. Can you tell us a little bit about these local methods? Because one of the conversations, really, and you have pointed to that, wearing life jackets and all of those standard procedures that have improved over the years. What are some of the local methods that are being used, and what would you like to see change if the Federal Inland Waterways updates the security and the safety procedures for your localities?
As I said, those boats that you see is locally fabricated. Just in 2 days, one man can go and buy wooden materials and start fabricating a boat. And in the couple of 3-4 days, the boat will enter the waters and continue, transporting people from one angle to another. And unfortunately, any time of this season, like August to the ending of September, is going to be a tragic period that every people around the riparian side will continue to live in a deep fear, because Goronyo Dam is no longer holding the predicted metric cubic water that the dam is constructed to overhaul. If you look to the dam, Goranyo Dam is the 5th largest dam in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a part of Akanji, Shiroro, Tiga of Kano, and Chala of Kano. So that Goranyo Dam is the 5th largest, constructed to store like about 942 million cubic meter of water. And as it is now, the dam cannot even contain or store like 100 million. So you see, there is a problem there. So the also river, the dam is releasing the water. The river needs to be totally dredged and give it its way to carry the water down to other community, Padama community, up to Argungu, and even beyond the Argungu, where the river is taking the water. So now, the water are just splitting off to the farmers and flooding the farms and causing a lot of damage. And right now, as I can tell you, all our farmers, ranging from Kasira, where the dam begins, down to Argungu, are in deep fear. Some cannot even sleep. Transportation movement, fear of having flood, causing damage in their farms, and causing a lot of loss, going by the cost of agricultural activities ranging from mechanization, the cost of fertilizer they are using, and now many people, 80% to 90% of our population cannot sleep due to this fear. They are seeing every night, if it was raining, there is a sort of fear that water can flood their farms and cause damage. And of course, transportation now is a serious challenge in all the Padama communities. Transportation is a serious challenge. Some cannot even move from now till end of September, pending when the waters was finally gone down. Then people start moving from one village to another. But some people now cannot move because the transportation system is not guaranteed.
Honourables, let me get this straight, because you have mentioned severally now this issue of the dam being a little faulty, if I get you right, or that the capacity for which it was built is now, it seems to be holding much more than the capacity for which it was built. I don't know if I'm getting that part right, but you certainly are faulting something with the dam.
Yeah.
And I do not know if this is linked with the flooding which was reported last week in some other communities. How did this dam, which you say is not holding us, or which is not measuring up to capacity, how did it cause or aid this particular boat accident which we witnessed in your community?
What I have mentioned earlier is that the dam, Goranyo Dam, specifically, was constructed to store the capacity of 942 million cubic meter. And now, as it is, by report, even by CNN, they reported this, the capacity of the dam now is not up to 100 million. So that seriously is causing flooding, because if the dam is at its initial capacity, it's set to contain those predicted 900 cubic meter of water. So now, the more the water enter the dam, the more the dam's operators release the water to the riparian side, to Padama communities. So the dam is no longer containing the water, and it's no longer storing the water for irrigation purposes that it was built for. So the more the water enter, when it is months of August to September, or early beginning of July, August to September, the more the water enter the dam, the more they release the water to the Padama side, instead of storing the water till the dry season for the irrigation purposes. So the dam is no longer containing the water, and Goranyo Dam is not only the question. All of the dams across the Federal Republic of Nigeria are facing the same problem. The federal government needs to now look this holistically. What I mean by holistically is, what is the problem that causing flood disaster in Nigeria? It's nothing than the dam that was constructed across the country are no longer holding the capacity of water they were constructed to hold, to store rather. So everywhere in Maiduguri, last year there was a serious flooding. And if you go now and embark on investigative journalists, what has happened, what federal government has done for the Alau Dam, nothing has been done. And the serious disaster was occurred last year, and nothing has been done. And now what is happening in the Baccalaureate Dam of Mafara, Talata Mafara, Goranyo Dam, Tiga Dam of Kano, Chalawa Dam, Shiroro Dam, everywhere you go, flooding are caused by the lack of capacity of Nigerian dams to store the actual predicted water that they is supposed to store. So this is federal government challenging, and other state government that constructed their little as them to see how they can now shift focus on the desalting, dredging of those water facilities, so that Nigeria can even have a ease in the flooding situation. But without doing that, those dams across Nigeria will continue to release water when it is times of August and early September, and continue causing panic for Nigeria across the country.
I get the point you make now with regards to the dam and why it can cause flooding, or why we're beginning to see reports of flooding in certain communities, particularly in Sokoto State. However, it doesn't seem to explain the issue of the boat mishap, because we've seen boat mishaps in a number of states, and it is quite worrisome, this trend that we're seeing. If we know that within the months of August and September, we know that our people usually use this water as a means of transportation, and we know that this is when we record the most accidents. Don't you think that the state government also has a duty and a responsibility to ensure that citizens do not lose their lives as a result of trying to find their way through this means of transportation?
Of course, they have state government at all levels. They have their duty to do to reduce the the rate of incidences that occur for the mishap or capsizes, because they have the proper understanding of their local system, and they have their proper understanding of what they shall do to improve the system. So here, federal government cannot single-handedly blame, and the state government too can actually come in and do the needful. They can assemble all those local traditional operators and discuss with them in a holistic way and see what government can do to improve the system, more especially the safety standard for those waterways users.
Yes, Honorable, and as we wrap up, just is it possible, maybe, let's talk about the people now. Is it possible that maybe until all of this is sorted out, is there some way you can get people not to, would you suggest that they don't use the waterways for now, since we're looking at multifaceted problems with the water transportation system in your localities? Would you suggest that maybe people look for alternative means of transportation for now until these safety standards and this dam issue is sorted out?
And unfortunately, we don't have any alternative way of transportation. Those people that are living in the Fadama community, they must cross from one angle to another to get even a means of living, to get even basic amenities. So there is no way. We must, of course, transport from one angle to another. But what I am going to emphasize is that safety standard. We must begin to adhere the safety procedures, since that we don't have any alternative way of transportation. Those that are living across the river and crossing the river to some town and villages to do their daily activities and to also get their daily means of living.
Okay, so right now we do not know, because what has been reported is that people are missing. It's unclear if anyone has lost their lives. Do you have any updates in that regard?
Well, up to now, there is no case of any recovered body. But so far, today, as I told you yesterday, they have closed the water. So temporarily, between today to tomorrow, the river will go down, and hopefully, everybody that's still missing, we are hoping to recover those people that are still missing. And to the expectation, if still there is person or people that are missing, definitely those are going to be a recovered body, because you cannot be in the water like for 2-3 days. Barely now in the next 2-3 hours, it's going to be exactly 48 hours. So typically somebody cannot be in a river for 48 hours and still be alive. Is quite difficult. So we are hoping, as the Rima Basin Development Authority have temporarily closed the water release. So what is going to happen today and tomorrow, everybody that's still missing, we are hoping to recover those missing people.
Well, we'll stay optimistic, Honorable, and we hope for the very best in that particular situation, even though we know that the situation can be grim. But we have to thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. We're hoping that also the House of Representatives will also impress upon federal and state authorities about the responsibilities they owe citizens with regards to enforcing safety standards, especially along our waterways. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.